Alright, so let's talk about adding MIDI to your Pro Tools session. So as we stated earlier, MIDI is not sound, MIDI is data, and let me show you what I mean by that. Let's make two new MIDI tracks, and notice that mono and stereo don't apply to MIDI tracks. So here we go. You see how that disappears? And it's going to be in ticks. So create. Okay, now I have a couple of MIDI files that I'm just going to drag into the session from my regions list. So there they are, and here we go. I'm going to hit play. Let's see what happens. Got nothing. No sound at all. That's because these little dots are just data until you pass this information through something that can interpret it. So in our case, we are going to use a MIDI instrument that comes with Pro Tools, and we're going to pass this data through that instrument, and we're going to get sound. So let's switch over from the edit window to the mix window and take a look at these MIDI tracks. You'll see that these are where the inserts and sends are supposed to go, but they're blank because these are MIDI tracks. Right, so what we're going to do is, let's flip back over, we're going to make a new stereo auxiliary input. Okay, and this is where we're going to put our MIDI instrument. So let's flip back over, go up to the top here, and instantiate an instrument. Let's make it expand 2. So this comes with Pro Tools. It's called Expand, and it's a synthesizer. It's got tons and tons of sounds in it. Let's pick a sound here. How about full and rich organ, and maybe a lead. Excited. Okay. Make this 1, make this 2. And you'll see what these do in a minute. Now that we have our instrument set up, everything should work, right? So let's hit play. Oh, still not getting any sound. Huh. Well, that's because we haven't routed the MIDI to the instrument yet. So let's hook them up. All you do is click on this. It's called the MIDI output selector, and because you have an instrument that you set up already, it knows and it automatically wants to patch you into it. So we'll put, let's see, put channel 1 right here, and we'll go to channel 2 on this one, and that corresponds to this 1 and this 2 right here. And now let's hit play. We have a very excited track there. Okay. And because this is MIDI, it's incredibly flexible, so of course we can change the sound. Let's change it to something that like a bass and electric guitar. So it's gonna sound pretty different, I would guess. Sure enough, sounds different. And not only can we change the sounds, but because these tracks are tick-based tracks, we can change the tempo and it'll conform nicely. So let's slow it down. Let's change it to something really drastic. Let's change it to like 70. Okay, now let's change it to something really fast. That's 200. Alright. Now, if you're going to be working with MIDI and Pro Tools, there's actually a slightly faster way to, or less complicated way to set up your MIDI tracks, and that's by using something called an instrument track. So let's go up here, make a new instrument track, and you can see that it does matter whether it's mono or stereo. So we're going to make a stereo instrument track because we're going to put a stereo instrument on it. So here's our new instrument track right here. Put it down at the bottom. Let's flip over to the mix window, and you can see that instrument tracks are different from MIDI tracks because basically it combines the two into one. So on a MIDI track, you don't have any inserts or sends, and you have to route the route the MIDI out into an auxiliary input, which does have inserts and sends, and that's where you add your instrument onto the insert bay. But with an instrument track, you have inserts and sends, and you can just add your instrument directly onto the insert bay for that track. So here's our instrument. We have it all set up. And let's change this to that. I like that lead we had. Let's go over back to that excited lead. All right, flip over to the edit window. And let's drag one of these down to our instrument track. And we'll mute everything else. Let's play it. I forgot. We're still at 200. How about 100? There we go.